How's it going, Rogues Gallery, and welcome to another Grand Archive video here on Red Zone Rogue. Today we're going to be opening up and reviewing both of the Mortal Ambition starter decks. We have the Kongming starter deck and the Jin starter deck. How good are they? Are they a good starting point for Grand Archive players or people who just want to get into the game or learn how to play? You know, are they worth it to pick up? So, yeah. That's what we're doing today. Timestamps down below for each of the decks. Let's get started. And the sponsor of today's video is none other than me. I'm the sponsor. Hey, go check out redzonerogue.com for awesome TCG accessories, such as playmats like this, featuring art from some amazing TCG industry artists, like my good friend Honshu here, who is also an artist for Grand Archive. So, with that out of the way, seriously, go check it out. It really helps support the channel. Let's take a look at these two starter decks. Now, the TLDR here is, I think these are both great entry points into Grand Archive. I think they are affordable, and I think they are just generally a good way to start. There's a lot of other starter decks for this game. I think they're all pretty good. I think the Recollection decks are the best, but they're also the most expensive. So, without further ado, let's dive into these a little bit more individually. We have Jin, the Wind Warrior. This is going to be the easier of the two decks to pilot. This is more of your aggressive style deck with a lot of units and attacking. And we have Kongming, the Water Mage, and this is more of your controlling style deck. Much more big brain and hard to control, but I think she's also very, very cool. And like I said, she's new favorite Grand Archive waifu, but I actually think I'm probably going to be playing Jin in Constructed. So let's take a look at Kongming first. The easiest way to open these, by the way, is just from the bottom. This is true for a lot of these types of products for any TCG. Pro tip, opening it from the bottom is always easier. You can always just kind of like monkey fist it, open it from the top, but yep. I do want to mention that you do have a small chance at getting a chase card in all of the Grand Archive starter decks, so we'll see if we can open that up. There's also a deck list here on the back as well. Yep. Chance for a randomly inserted CSR. Difficulty, 5 stars. I like how they have the star difficulty. It reminds me of some old TCGs from the 90s. And once again, you can see the deck list here. I do believe every single card that is exclusive to this deck comes in a full playset, so you do not have to buy 2 decks. You only ever have to buy 1. So keep that in mind. So we'll set our lovely girl Kongming to the side. Ooh. And we got, oh, these are the special Kongming tokens. So this is the Shifting Currents. And here is just kind of like a quick start guide on how to play. I would prefer actual, paper rule books with like colored art and all that kind of stuff. I talk about this when I do these type of reviews often, but I think this is fine. This is the bare minimum, in my opinion, these days. Some TCGs don't come with anything, and that's atrocious. But this one at least comes with the QR code, so you can use that to start. It's on like actual card stock too, which is kind of funny. All right, and then we have, like I said, the Shifting Currents. I don't believe this comes in the booster set, so this is something you actually kind of want to get if you're going to be playing Kongming. This is something that will directionally change based on her abilities, and whether it's pointing north, east, south, or west, it'll do something different. Not this specifically, but other cards will care about it. And then, of course, here we have the starter deck, all nicely bundled up. I do have a box cutter for this. Just makes it a little easier. There may be a pull tab, but I don't know, and I didn't see one, so. All right, so here we have, I assume we're going to have we have the material deck first, and then we have the actual bulk of the deck, the actual main deck, including your Norm Element cards, your Water Element cards, and then, of course, your Terra Element cards. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. I do want to say cardstock quality for Grand Archive is always very, very nice, very clean. The back is textured. Nice premium quality. They feel good. So, yep. And so here we have your material deck. You have a Spirit of Water. This is just going to be your standard Spirit of Water. We also have the Kongming champion, as well as her level 2 and level 3 versions of Kongming. And like I said, she's a very controlling style deck that cares about the shifting currents. So whenever she enters, you get the shifting currents mastery, and then other things will direct that, which is great. For this deck, you definitely want to level up into Kongming as soon as possible, and then level up into your 2, which has a nice inherited effect, and then level up into your level 3 so you can access your Terra Elements, which is how you're going to essentially finish the game. This deck in particular cares a lot about like spell damage, so we have this Empower effect. So on enter Empower 3, which basically means it'll pump up the, well, it'll make your next effect or spell that you play act as though it were 3 levels higher than normal. It's like a plus 3 kind of deal, which I think is pretty good for things that have, you know, do 1 more damage for each of your character levels. Well, there you go. It also has this inherited effect, which is sick. It says whenever your shifting currents change from facing north to south, draw a card. So you can do some cool stuff where you change your shifting currents from north to south to draw cards, because at the beginning of your end phase, you can change the direction of this to any direction. So basically every other turn, if you want to, you can go from north to south, back to north, back to south, and then draw a card every time you go from north to south, which is nice. And then of course we have our level 3 Kongming Fel Eidolon. I said 3 and Kongming at the same time. Thring. Kongming, on enter, recover X. You basically heal X, where X is the amount of Terra element cards in your banishment. So you do want to have a couple of those in your banishment going into this. So it's good to pay for those early, or use your leveling to potentially hit your Terra element cards so you can gain some life when you level up, which is nice. And it says whenever you activate a spell card, you may change the direction of your shifting currents to an adjacent direction of your choice. So once again, it's all about the shifting currents. Here we have a Bauble of Abundance. This is a nice little reprint with nice art. Really dig that. We have Fan of 7 Debts. 1 drop on enter, draw a card. Kongming bonus, banish it. Change the direction of your currents to a different direction of your choice. Once again, it's all about shifting directions. We have your Life Essence Amulet, another reprint card, which is a nice little draw card. We have Shard of Empowerment. This is a new card because of Bauble of Empowerment's basically banning because it's too good. We have the Shard of Empowerment. So it says, banish Shard of Empowerment, Empower 2, and it says, yes, the next spell you activate this turn activates and resolves as if your champion got +2 level. So it's kind of like a one-shot Bauble of Empowerment. So still pretty good. This comes with a Terrafring with new art. This is a great card for slowing down the aggressive decks if you're playing against the Jin deck. This is great. We have Sweet Ambrosia, a 0 drop that says banish it, recover 3, which is nice. It's just a nice little way to heal a little bit. We have the Coronal of Rejuvenation. I do believe these last 2 cards are unique to the starter deck. In fact, some of these other ones may be as well, if I remember off the top of my head, but I know these 2 are for sure. And so this is a 1 drop. As additional cost to materialize this card, banish a preserved card from your material deck. On enter, banish any number of spell cards from your graveyard. And it says you can activate this, and you may play a banished card of Coronal, or a card banished by Coronal of Rejuvenation. You can only activate this at slow speed. So it's this kind of way to get this recurring value, which is really nice. And then here we have the Entrancing Filigree, a 2 drop on enter. As a spell, banish target non-champion object you don't control, which is really sick. Just get rid of something, and on leave, return the object to its owner's control rested. So it's kind of like a nice little Oblivion Ring style effect, but because it's from your material deck, you always have access to it. So a nice little removal suite here. So yeah, like I said, this is a very controlling style deck, and everything that goes into this is going to help facilitate that. Here we have the Ardent Cloud Striker. 3/4 for 5, decent stats, and on attack, if your shifting currents face west and Ardent Cloud Striker is attacking a champion, it gets +3. So this is a nice way to deal some damage to your opponent and kind of help finish things off. Dealing 6 damage is pretty good, but 5 is a pretty high cost. Here we have Formidable Yuja. I believe this one is one of the cards that is unique to the starter deck. It's a 2-drop 2/2 with Intercept, and it says as long as your shifting currents face east, she gets +2, which is really good. This, I think it's one of the cards unique to the starter deck. I don't have them all memorized quite yet. I'm recording this as soon as I possibly can after launch day. This is a 2-drop Harmonicus Mantra, or Harmonious Mantra. Harmonious. Dude, I can talk. It's a 2-drop fast, heal 3, And then if your shifting currents face north, recover 3+ level instead, which is nice. Nice little heal. We have Heighten Spellcraft. This is a nice Empower spell with Floating Memory. This is great. This is a Mage skill with Empower 3, so it pumps up your next thing by level 3. Not always damage. This says it's recover 3+ level. So if your Kongming is level 3 here, and you also Empower, then you will have 6 total, right? You'll have 3 from her base level and 6 for the next spell that resolves. So you can do the Harmonious Mantra and heal for 9, because it'll be 6 plus 3, right? Which is really, really good. Yeah, like I said, pretty good. Nice controlling style stuff. And this also has Floating Memory, which is really, really good. Class bonus Floating Memory, but just having Floating Memory is great. You usually want a pretty good mix of that. Here we have another reprint. This is Idle Thoughts with not new artwork. Just a nice little card. It's not really a filter, but you just gotta rearrange the top cards of your deck, but it does have Floating Memory, which is also really good. This is a really good first turn play. We have Spirited Neophyte. This is a pretty solid card because it's a 2/3 for 3, which are pretty good stats for Grand Archive. And on attack, if your shifting currents face north, you Empower 2, which is really good. So you can kind of set up those big Empower turns. Here we have Wisdom's Reprise. I really dig this card as well. It's just a 1-drop cleric spell, and it says Glimpse 3, and as level 3+, draw a card into your memory. So you can kind of like rearrange the top of your deck. Glimpse basically means you can look at the top cards of your deck and put them back or on the bottom in any permutation that you see fit, and then drawing a card in your memory on level 3+ is really good. This one is definitely not this is one from the booster pack. Now we have some of our water cards. So we have Cone of Frost. This is a nice removal spell. It's a 3-dropped slow. Class bonus costs 1 less, so essentially a 2-drop. And you can deal 2 damage to up to 1 target unit at a level 1. At level 2, you can deal another 2 damage to up to 1 target unit. And level 3, you can, or level, I'm sorry, it's 1, 5, it's 1, 3, and 5. I was gonna say, it's not 1, 2, and 3. It's 1, 3, and 5. So at level 1, you can do that. At level 3, you can do another 2 damage. And level 5, you can do another 2 damage. This is a nice little removal. We have Coriolis Ward. 1-drop fast, prevent the next 1+ level damage that we dealt to target unit this turn. If your shifting currents face west, draw a card into memory. So nice little prevention and also some card draw. We have the Hydro Guard Retainer. 3-drop 1/4 with taunt, so he's just kind of like a big dude. And it says whenever your shifting currents change from facing north to west, draw a card. Once again, there's a lot of like incidental card draw depending on when your currents shift. So playing this and shifting your currents around is nice. We have Rising Tides. This is a 2-drop spell at class bonus level 3+. You draw a card into your memory, and it has Floating Memory. It's an interesting card. It doesn't really do anything on the early game, but you can just basically use this as a cost to pay for your stuff. But in late game, hey, you get to draw a card, and it also has Floating Memory, which is nice. We have Taiji of Crystal Stratagems, a 3-drop Fantasia. Whenever your shifting currents change from facing south to east, while this card is awake, you may rest it. When you do, as a spell, deal 3 damage to target champion you don't control. So this is a really nice card to help ping down your opponent and just kind of help end the game. I really like this one because this deck is really going to be more about board control, lasting as long as you can, and then picking your opponent off with cards like this, as well as the ones that get the nice little attack bonus when they're attacking a enemy champion. It's also reservable, so you can basically use this to pay for costs as well. So this is a really nice card. We have the Tsunami of Nanyue. This is a 5-drop slow, but has efficiency, so it's reduced by each of your champion's levels, which is good for those Empower things as well. And it says deal 2 damage to all rested allies, including your own. If your shifting currents face south, deal 3 damage to all rested allies you don't control instead. So you want to face south, do 3 damage to everything you don't control. Nice board wipe effect. Next up we have Water Barrier. This is another reprint with gorgeous art by Pinakis. 3-drop fast. The next time damage we dealt to your champion this turn, prevent all but one of that, which is really nice for those big attacks, and it also has Floating Memory. A couple of those. And then finally we have our end game cards. This is our suite of Terra cards that we can only play once we hit level 3. We have the Devoted Bloom Weaver, 2-drop 2/2 with Preserve. So when this dies, you put it back into your material deck preserved, which is really, really nice. And it says as you materialize, you may instead take a preserve card and add it to your hand, which is really good. and then on enter Empower 2. So you can essentially play this, get that Empower 2, tack it into something, have it die, and then go back to your material deck, and then you can play it again. So we have a full four of these. Next up we have Leeching Bolt. Now Leeching Bolt here is one of the main win conditions of the deck. It's kind of like a fireball, right? So it says level 2, or it costs 2 to play, fast, deal level damage to target unit. So unit means allies or champion, and then you also heal 2, which is nice. Also, if it's empowered, put it into its owner's material deck preserved, so you can just keep doing it over and over as long as you can get that empower. So that's really, really nice. This is a really good one to have as an empower target for cards that you can make sure you can do the empower, you know, like the Shard of Empowerment here. But yeah, this is definitely one of the finishers of the deck. We have 3 here. We also have Planar Abyss. This card is pretty gnarly. This is a 12 drop, also with just absolutely awesome art, with class bonus efficiency, so it costs less the higher level your champion is, which is nice. At the beginning of the next recollection phase, destroy all non-champion objects, and if your shifting currents face south, deal 10 damage to each champion you don't control. Whew. Oh. So once again, another nice finisher, but it's all about surviving until you can kind of pull that off. Next up we have Ruinous Pillars of Kidao. So on enter, empower 2, draw a card, really nice. And then whenever your shifting currents change from facing west to east, sacrifice this. When you do, destroy target non-champion object you don't control. Really, really nice card for this deck, but it's a little slow, but still pretty sweet. And then finally, we have 3 of the Terra Sites. This one is another reprint with a new beautiful artwork featuring your girl Kongming. It just says 0, you draw a card, and then you preserve this. So this just goes back into your deck. So essentially, you can just draw 2 cards a turn with this, because you would draw this for your material, and then draw for turn, and then just play it to draw, and then it goes back into your material deck, and you just can keep looping that, which is nice. And yeah, that's the Kongming deck. Like I said, the ways you actually kill your opponent are with Leeching Bolts and Planar Abyss. I don't know if this one is starter exclusive or not, now that I think about it. Combined with things that give you Empower, as well as the TCG and those big pumpers. And everything else is all about stalling, healing, board control, you know, getting value out of shifting your currents. I like this deck a lot. I think this is super, super fun. However, it is the big brain deck, and it's not as easy as the next one we'll talk about, which is the Jin deck. So, Jin is much more simple, much more straightforward. He likes his dudes, and he's gonna send the dudes to attack you, and also attack you with his own weapon, which is pretty cool. I think a lot of people who favor aggro decks or just ally-based decks will really dig this one, and I think this is definitely the easier of the two to get into. Here we have the QR code for the Jin deck, literally the same thing. I wanted to mention difficulty 1. Difficulty 1. Jin has a really, really cool advanced element, Exia. It's a brand new element, and it's basically like the Berserker element, for lack of better terms, and it's awesome, and I really like it. I really like it. Like I said, I think this is the deck that I'm definitely going to be building first in Constructed. So here we have our Wind Spirit. We have our boy Jin here, who says, inherited effect, whenever Jin attacks with a polearm weapon or a polearm attack, target horse or human ally you control gets +1, which is really, really nice. So that means we're going to be playing with horses and humans and attacking with polearms. Level 2 Jin, Jin Zealous Maverick, Jin Lineage, on enter, his next weapon attack is +1 and has on attack Wake Up Jin, which is really nice. So if you can attack twice, then you can get this inherited effect twice, which is really cool. And his level 3 is very simple but very awesome. Jin Undying Resolve. It says, as long as it's not your end phase, Jin has immortality, which says a unit with immortality can't die, which means he can only die on your end phase. So during your opponent's turn, he cannot die. During your turn, he cannot die, but during your end phase is when he will die. So essentially what this does is it gives you another full turn to do stuff before you die. You can heal, you can kill your opponent, whatever you got to do to stay alive. I think it's a really cool and interesting effect. I think it's not as overpowered as some people immediately would think, because he doesn't do anything else, right? without other cards. So there's going to be a lot of games where you level up into Jin and your opponent does lethal to you and you're like, okay, my turn, nothing, and then you just die. But I do think it's still really cool, and I think there's a lot of like playability around this, which is great. Here we have Bauble of Abundance. Both decks come with this. Here we have Executioner's Spear, a 0-drop spear, which is nice. And it says, on kill, put a durability counter on Executioner's Spear. So this is something you want to use with Jin to kill stuff, essentially. So you can keep using it. Here we have another Life Essence Amulet. Once again, both decks get this. Here we have a Safeguard Amulet, which is really nice, versus Kongming. So you can banish this, and if your champion will be dealt non-combat damage this turn, prevent 4 of that damage. What's really nice about that is that effect is for the entire turn. So if your opponent would deal multiple sources of non-combat damage, it would prevent 4 of that every source, which is really, really nasty. Next we have the Slate Whetstone. This is just a 1-drop, and you can banish it, and up to 1 target polearm you control gets +1 until end of turn, and you draw a card. Pretty standard little effect. Next we have the Steel Halberd, 1-drop 1/2 weapon. Class bonus, it gets +1 attack. So it's basically a 1-drop 2/2. Yeah, pretty good. Kind of like your longsword. Next up, we have the Berserker Plate. This card's sick. It's a 1-drop class bonus. Your champion gets +7 health. So what that means is it literally just gives you +7 to your maximum health, which is really, really nice. Something that Jin wants to do. And it says, at the beginning of your recollection phase, deal 3 unpreventable damage to your champion, but then you draw a card. So this is a nice way to draw 2 cards per turn and to kind of like extend your life threshold. This is a really nice card, and I believe this is a starter deck exclusive. We also have Shuangji of Sacrifice, a 1-drop 1/3 weapon, polearm. Class bonus, for every 5 damage counters on your champion, this gets +1 attack. And on enter, you may have Shuangji of Sacrifice deal 5 damage to your champion. If you do, draw a card. Yeah, pretty nice. This card, once again, the Exia element is kind of like Berserker mode, and I love it. It's very cool. It's one of my favorite parts about Jin. All right, next we have one of my favorite cards ever made. We have the Banner Knight with new, beautiful artwork. You only get 2 of them in the deck, but I still think it's a great card. It's a common card, common reprint. This is a 2-drop 1/3, and class bonus level 2+. Other allies and weapons you control get +1, which is very nice. We have the Idle Thoughts reprint that I mentioned before, floating memory, and just kind of way to, reorganize the top of your deck. We have Pierce the Heavens, 3-drop 3 attack. This is an attack warrior polearm attack. Jin bonus, as long as your champion is leveled up this turn, it gets +2 and is unblockable. So this is a 3-drop 5 attack if you leveled up that turn, plus whatever other Jin bonuses you got going on. Pretty sweet. You get 3 of these, or 4 of these. Next up we have Regenerate. Pretty nice little card for Jin because he wants to heal himself because he's going to be doing a lot of damage to himself. 2-drop, draw a card in your memory, which is nice. And then on class bonus, damage 10+, recover 2. So get a draw card and heal 2. Pretty good. We have a Safeguard Paladin, 3-drop 2/2, class bonus. If non-combat damage will be dealt to this Paladin, prevent 2 of the damage. Pretty good, specifically against Kongming. We got a 4 of those. We have Savage Swing, pretty nice standard card here. 2-drop, 2 damage with floating memory. Yep, nice card. Beautiful new artwork on this one. We have Trusty Steed, not new artwork. This is the same artwork for your Trusty Steed, but horses do matter now. And so this is a 4-drop 1/3 on enter. Another ally you control gets +2 attack until end of turn. Nice little horse card. We have a Veteran Soldier reprint featuring art by a good friend of mine, Gule. Beautiful artwork, and this card is just kind of like a nice little all-arounder. It's a 5-drop 2/3, which is not great stats, but it has floating memory, which is really good. I like playing this one early. This is a good one to have early. Next up, we have Eminent Commander. Hey, look, art by another really good friend of mine, Han Chu. She's the one who did this art here. And there's a 5-drop 2/4 class bonus. This card costs 3 less to activate as long as your champion has dealt 3 or more combat damage this turn. So it could potentially be a 2-drop 2/4, which is really good stat lines. But you have to have done the combat damage. So yeah, I don't know. I think this is a pretty cool card. We have Favorable Winds. This is another reprint with beautiful artwork. 1-drop fast. All your allies get +1 health until end of turn, and it has floating memory. Really, really nice little card. We have another new card. This is Materialized Polearm. 4-drop, class bonus. This card costs 1 less to activate, so essentially like a 3-drop. Materialize the polearm from your material deck. You have to still pay its cost. So getting one of those 0 drops, and by one of those 0 drops, I mean specifically the one Executioner Spear, is really, really nice. But if you want to pay for the cost, you can get your Steel Halberd, or even late game, you can get your Shuangji of Sacrifice, which is nice. It makes it so you don't have to waste your material step doing that. You can do it outside of that, which is really good. Also, it's fast speed too. We have Reclaim. I love the new artwork on Reclaim. This is just a really nice card that's played in a lot of decks. 2-drop, return an ally you control to its owner's hand and has floating memory. Yeah, really nice. Just the 2 of them here. I don't think, now correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think Reclaim or the Banner Knight are come in the booster pack, but they come in other booster packs. I think the art for this is unique to these starters, which could give you a reason to buy multiple starters if you specifically want the art, but it might just be better to get singles, to be honest. Next up, we have another reprint, Swift Recruit. I know this one is in the starter deck, or in the booster set. This is a 2-drop 1/2 with Intercept and Floating Memory. This is a nice little card. You'll put this in almost any Wind Allies deck if you are Warrior. It's just really good. Or just any Wind Allies deck in general. It's just really nice. Like, having Intercept and Floating Memory is just really good. We also have Wind Cutter. This is a 2-drop. This is an attack. Ranger Warrior Sword attack with class bonus, gets +1, so it's a 2 for 2. And on hit, reveal a card at random from your memory. If it's a Wind Element card, put this into its owner's memory. So that's nice. So you can keep playing this over and over again. It's really good. We have 3 of these. And then finally, we have our Exia cards. And these cards are awesome. We have the Blood Bond Blade Sworn, 3-drop, 3/6. Good stats. He gets +1 attack for every 10 damage counters on your champion, so he's quite large. And then when he is dealt damage, deal that much damage to your champion. So it's kind of like this double-edged sword, but he's really big. And so we got 2 of him. We have Enrage. This is a 4-drop that has, when you have 20 plus damage, this card costs 2 less to activate. And it says, deal 4 unpreventable damage to your champion. Then their next attack gets +1 attack for every 4 damage counters on them. So yeah, this can deal a ton of damage, especially combined with something that's already counting the damage counters, like the Shuangji of Sacrifice. So you can just do an absurdly huge attack with this combination of cards, which is really, really nice. That's one of the big ways you can finish your opponent off with Jin. You just have to be real careful that your opponent doesn't have like that water shield that we talked about that can prevent those big bursts of damage. So the water barrier. So yeah, there's a nice counterplay between the 2 decks. We have Exia Sight. This is a new one, 0-drop, draw a card, and if you have 20 plus damage, the next card you activate this turn costs 1 less to activate. It's kind of like a nice little ramp. So you get 2 of these. And I do believe, yeah, we have 3 more cards. So this is Hemorrhaging Rend. This is a 4-drop that deals 4 attack that has Cleave, which is just a lot, but only cleaves at damage 20 plus. So Cleave means it attacks all units a chosen opponent controls. So it includes their champion. So it hits their champion and all their dudes. Really, really nice board clear there. But it's kind of expensive. We also have Mend Flesh. This is one of the ways so you can not die after you have gone over your maximum damage counters. 2-drop, damage 25 plus. Card costs 2 less to activate. So if you have 25 plus damage on you, this is free, and it just heals you 8, which is really nice. So we got 2 of those. And then finally, we have Relentless Outburst. So this is a 3-drop class bonus, 35 plus damage until end of turn. If target champion would take damage this turn, they take that much +1 instead. And then for every 6 damage counters on your champion, deal 1 damage to all other units, including all of your allies, but also your opponent's face as well. Yeah, this is a really, really nice finisher. I know this one does come in the booster set, so I'm pretty sure this other one does as well then. I just have not been lucky enough to open up another one, Planner Abyss. So yeah, that's really cool. And like I said, I really, really like this deck. I think it plays really, really well. It's much easier than Kongming, but I don't know. I think it's a lot of fun. I actually think both of these decks are super fun. And they both scratch a different kind of like TCG player style itch, you know? We have like the controlling Kongming deck with all of your, you know, complicated plays and changing the directions. And then you have Jin, who big smashy, big smashy, can't die. Your boy Jin. So, yep, I highly recommend both of these. I think they're fantastic for both new players and returning players, or if you just want to pick these up to try them out. And yeah, that's my verdict. I think these are great. And the only thing that I would say is, you know, I like it when the decks have, when starter products have an actual like rulebook, but it's kind of a small thing. It's kind of a small thing. So if that's my biggest complaint about these, well, I think that's pretty good. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Let me know if you picked up any of these in the comments section down below. And yeah, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.